You know where 1640 Riverside...
Are you gonna order something, kid?
Yeah. Give me a tab.
Tab? I can't give you a tab unless you order something.
All right, give me a Pepsi free.
You want a Pepsi, pal? You're gonna pay for it.
Look, just give me something without any sugar in it, okay?
Something without sugar.
Hey, McFly! What do you think you're doing?
Biff.
Hey, I'm talking to you, McFly, you Irish bug.
Oh, hey, Biff. Hey, guys. How are you doing?
Yeah, you got my homework finished, McFly?
Well, actually, I figured since it wasn't due till Monday...
Hello? Hello? Anybody home? Hey, think, McFly, think. I gotta have time to recopy it. You realize what would happen if I hand in my homework in your handwriting? I'll get kicked out of school. You wouldn't want that to happen, would you? Would you?
Well, now, of course not,
No,
Biff. I wouldn't
no.
want that to happen.
What are you looking at, butthead?
A long, long time ago. Actually, it was only 4 years ago, that year 2021. I thought of a podcast idea. It was so much fun that first year that I figured I would do it again. The next 2 years I did the sequels. Compared to the first, there are no equals. The fourth year, as you all know, was that silly cartoon show. And when March 31st arrived, I wouldn't say I almost cried, but I thought it best to decide to say my last goodbye. But I lied about Marchy McFly, said that last year was the last year and that the show had died. But I found a way to keep the podcast alive, and I'm gonna call it Marchy McFive. I'm gonna call it Marchy McFive. Yeah, I lied about Marchy McFly, said that last year was the last year and that the show had died. But I found a way to keep that podcast alive, and I welcome you to Marchy McFive.
Wait, hold, and go! Happy Tuesday, everybody! It's Tuesday, March 11th, which means it's day 11 of year 5 of Marchy McFly. Day 11 of Marchy McFive, where for the 11th day, I'm here talking to you about Back to the Future. Today, we are discussing minutes 3550 to 3925. We're in the 50s. Things are starting to heat up. We're going to start seeing some familiar faces, even though they look a little different. And we're going to start seeing some familiar patterns. And I think Marty finally realizes that he is in the past, that this actually happened. The segment that we're talking about today picks up where Marty is, kind of in Hill Valley, taking it all in. And it ends with him in a diner being made fun of for his beautiful vest. The first thing Marty notices, the first thing we notice that Marty notices, is the Texaco station. The Texaco station where apparently we see what 1955's idea of full-service gas is like. And I wonder, was it really like having a NASCAR pit crew come out, or is this like a bit of an exaggeration to be like, look how much you were taken care of? back in the nifty 50s. It shows that gas is 19.5 cents a gallon, which is, that's a good rate. And cigarettes are only 20 cents per pack. But do not smoke around the gas. You can buy them there. You just can't light up there. So he watches that for a few seconds. I mean, these guys really take care of this nice automobile. And he looks over, and now he looks at a record store. And he sees a sign that says, "Just arrived, the Ballad of Davy Crockett. 16 tons" is another one, and many, many more. And I was like, well, wait a minute. Do I know these songs? Like, are these songs familiar to me? So I looked it up, and it says The Battle of Davy Crockett. Now, that was a song originally performed by Fess Parker as Davy Crockett on the first ever episode of the ABC television series Disneyland back in 1954.
Born on a mountaintop in Tennessee.
Did that hillbilly just say born?
In the land of the
I know this.
Raised in the woods, so he knew
Yeah.
every tree.
Do,
Built him a bar,
but he was only 3. Davy Crockett, king of the wild frontier. Okay, I know that song.
Fought single-handed.
But just in, I mean, it's 1955. So is that, so wait, it also says that, I guess the song was also recorded. So the president of Cadence Records saw that telecast, and he called Bill Hayes that night to see if he would record it. So then Bill Hayes recorded it and put it out in 1955, and apparently that one went to number 1. Davy Crockett, oh, Jesus Christ. Born on the mountaintop of Tennessee. And, I'm trying to understand why when Marty does rock out, all the kids are freaked out, because I got to tell you, music in the 50s needed help. It needed the renaissance that became the 60s. My goodness gracious. Music was so, bad then. I'm not saying that's a bad song, but I mean, the fact that this song was recorded in 1954, then a guy puts it out in 1955, then, wait, am I reading this right? Another guy recorded this in 1955. All 3 were on the Billboard charts. And when all 3 versions of one song are on the Billboard charts at the same time or in the same year, that tells me that the people who buy music in the 1950s are buying garbage. I mean, I'm not going to listen to this third I don't want to listen to the third version. Ah, shit. This one's slower.
Born on a
Oh
mountain
my
in
God. Did he say
Tennessee.
he said born.
Green estate in the land of the free. Raised in the woods, so he knew every tree. He killed him a bar when he was
I don't know.
only 3. Davy.
I feel unsafe just listening to a guy sing like that. I've never heard of Tennessee Ernie Ford. He did a version too. I mean, okay. I didn't find any other I guess Fess Parker, the guy who did it for Disney, also recorded another version. I'm not playing that. But let's talk about the second song there, 16 Tons. Now, by name, I'm like, I don't think I know 16 Tons, but it was written and recorded by Merle Travis. See, this kind of sounds familiar.
Some people say a man is made out of mud, but a poor man's made out of muscle and blood.
This was
Muscle
popular
and
music.
blood and skin and
Popular
bones.
music
With a
in
mind that's weak
1950.
and a back that's strong, you load
16 tons. I know this
what
song.
do you get? You get another day older and deeper in debt.
But that was recorded in 1946 and released in 1947. Wait a minute, it was recorded in August of 1946 and wasn't released until July 1947. What the hell was Merle Travis doing all that time? But again, the 40s. So why is this just in? Let me look. There was a version that came out in the 1950s by, oh, Jesus Christ, Tennessee Ernie Ford again.
Some people say a man is made out of mud.
Wait.
A poor man's made out
This
of
is the
muscle
version
and
I know.
blood. Muscle and blood and skin and bones. A mind that's weak and a back that's strong. You load 16 tons. What do you get?
Another day older and deeper in debt.
St. Peter, don't you call me, 'cause I can't go. I owe my soul to the company store.
Okay, now I need to look this guy up. Tennessee Ernie Ford, born in 1919, died in 1991, was an American singer and television host who enjoyed success with country and western pop and gospel. He has a deep bass baritone voice. It almost sounds like he'd almost be like doing Disney songs and like scary music, almost like The Grinch or something from some Disney special. I mean, how did he not? 16-ton cover, he did that. The Ford Show, he had something there. A Personal Life, I don't think he was anything terrible happened to him. He was married from 1942 up until his wife's death in 1989. See? And, less than 4 months after his wife's death, he got married again. Okay, cool. So he loves being married. He just loves love, okay? And this guy passed away in 1991. So anyway, Marty looks up from the sign and he sees more music. He sees a sign that says the world's smallest radio and a portable radio. It almost looks like the radio that they had on Gilligan's Island. Marty does have the Walkman. And didn't he say, he talks about a portable movie studio, but I forget if there's comments about the Walkman or if that was in a deleted scene. But it could have played into showing the world's smallest radio. And we see 3 more records, 2 of which I have no idea anything about. Edie in Dixieland? I have no idea what the hell this is. It's kind of catchy, though. There's also Patty Page, In the Land of Hi-Fi.
Here I go again. I hear those trumpets blow again.
It's kind of sexy.
Taking a chance on love.
But, I mean, literally, Edie and Patty Page I've never heard of until this moment. Patty Page kind of looks like Jessica Fletcher in Murder, She Wrote. Did I say Jessica? And then the third record, finally, something everybody knows.
Unforgettable.
Okay, the late, great Nat King Cole. There, finally a song that everyone knows. I don't know any of those other musicians. None of them ring a bell. Some of the songs did. The Davy Crockett one, one of the many Davy Crockett ones, the 16 Tons. But those ladies, no idea, don't know the songs, don't know the musicians, nothing. And this is what was called the world's best music in 1955. I know that Marty McFly changed the world of music forever. He inspired Chuck Berry. We know that happened. I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but it had to be said. Music, even as great as this is not what teenage kids, as opposed to, the grown kids, this is not what teenagers should be listening to. Oh, here's the cool thing. We're only 17 seconds into today's segment, and I've been spending it all this time on 5 seconds worth of screen time with this, with all that music. So Marty backs away from the record store. I think he's freaked out by that being popular music as well. And he finds himself standing on the green space, the green land, whatever you want to call it, the yard of the courthouse, which is a parking lot in 1985. And for the first time ever in his life, he hears the tolling of the clock tower. It seems like it's all starting to sink into Marty that, I'm in the past. But he's not quite sure. He sees a guy throw a newspaper away. First, he sees the sign for Hill Valley that looks wonderful. It's a nice place to visit. Please drive carefully. And then he sees a car go by with re-elect Mayor Red Thomas. Progress is his middle name. And I think that's a clever little joke where it's like, oh, Progress is his middle name. Progress is also Goldie Wilson's middle name in 1985. Now, you could say that Goldie Wilson learns from him and takes it and just copies it. Or you could also be saying, look, it doesn't matter who the politician is. They're telling the same story year after year. That it's just a repeat. It's always the same. So I tend to take it more on that kind of higher look at a joke. I'm trying to think of it. The smarter joke. I can't even think of the word, which isn't really that great. Instead of just being like Goldie copied him. I mean, look, they both have nicknames, Red and Goldie. They both drive around town with speakers, and they both have Progress as their middle name. Unless of course, literally, Progress just happens to be both their middle names, which then I apologize. So a guy walks by. By the way, every guy is dressed like an observer in Fringe. If you don't watch that show, it's not that funny. If you did watch that kind of awesome show, that joke was hilarious. So a guy throws a newspaper into a barrel, and Marty takes it out and checks and sees the date is November 5th, 1955. And he's like, what the ever living F? That's what he's thinking. And I'm wondering, 2025, a kid goes back to 1995. He sees someone throw a newspaper into a barrel. Would he even be like, what? Let me check the date on that. Or would he be like, that guy just threw paper into garbage where he should be recycling it? Like, would he or she, would the kid know to like even look at a newspaper? I don't know. I'm not sure. Marty looks up and sees a sign for a public telephone. He's like, okay, let me go check on that. Again, would a kid know to use a public telephone? You'd think, yes, possibly. But do kids know phone numbers? I barely know phone numbers. I used to know, I know the phone numbers that I still know. Like I have a friend I grew up with. I haven't called him in 30 years. I could call his house number right now. I could call my friend's dad right now because I don't think they have the same. I assume his dad still has the same phone number that he had growing up. I could call my friend's mom, and I know that it still rings the house. It's still at the house. Like all these numbers I know. And my friend, I know early on, I still knew his cell phone by heart. And that became his daughter's cell phone. So it's always funny that I don't know his phone number, but I know his daughter's cell phone by heart because it was his for a good, 10 years. And I was calling it on a flip phone where I was dialing in almost every time. But would kids know to go to a public telephone to call someone? So Marty goes into Lou's Diner, which is, we know, Lou's Aerobics in the 80s. And on the jukebox, ladies and gentlemen, is the ballad of Davy Crockett playing by that Fess Parker mother effer. The original, the Disney version. So I'm telling you, even that is the version that is at the record store too, because Lou went over to the record store and said, give me that one. I want that one on record. And they brought it over. Or they said, hey, maybe they have a deal. They bring over the records for Lou for, a little free Pepsi, not a Pepsi free. But that's the version. So that's the version that I'm sticking with, is the one at the record store as well. Marty looks up and sees that coffee is only 5 cents. If coffee was 5 cents today, I would have died by caffeine already. He asked the old guy, we get our first little joke while there's a young man at the counter. We get our first little joke of Marty's vest. He's like, hey, what, you jump ship? He's like, what are you talking about? What's with the life preserver? He's like, I just want to use the phone. He goes and checks the phone. He looks up Emmett Brown and sees that he is at Riverside Drive. Thank goodness he's still alive, even though Doc doesn't pick up. I do like the little joke of Marty's old digital watch alarm going off. I thought that was fun. Now, his watch is completely off, right? Because he didn't come to Hill Valley at 1:15, did he? I don't remember the time exactly. I'd have to see if they show the time on the time circuits. Oh, that's so very important. So Doc doesn't pick up, but Marty, And look, this is brazen. What kids know to use a phone book, that's another one. But this is brazen right here. He rips the full thing out of the phone book. If I was Lou and I saw that, I would, and he walks out with it and talks, and he's looking at the pages like, hey, do you know where Riverside Drive is? And everyone knows Riverside Drive is a block past Maple. But I'd be like, did you rip that out of my freaking phone book? Get the hell out of here, kid. Instead he yells at him, you got to pay, you got to buy something. And then we get the joke that didn't age well because the reference points just don't make sense anymore. And maybe I talked about this back in Marchy McFly 1. I don't care. We're talking about the same movie. I'm going to talk about it again. He's like, you going to order something? He goes, sure. Give me a tab. He's like, I'm not going to give you a tab unless you order something there, buckaroo. And now that's the first joke. There was a drink that came out in the 60s called Tab. It was a Diet Cola from Coca-Cola. Now, this is what threw me off. I would have assumed it was from Pepsi because this Back to the Future is like tied into Pepsi so much. Pepsi products all over the McFly house. There's a Pepsi sign inside Lou's Diner. He does try to order a Pepsi free, but he asks for a tab first. But that's the joke. The joke is you order a tab and you want to put it on your tab, okay? All these jokes, well, that joke works, okay? It's just not a Pepsi joke. It's not a Pepsi product. It was a Coca-Cola product. It was probably most popular in the 70s and 80s, even though it says on Wikipedia it lasted till 2020, but no kid for the last 15 or 20 years would even get that joke. Then Marty asks for a Pepsi Free. Now, this is a joke that works because people know what a Pepsi Free is, and they show Marty drinking a Diet Pepsi Free in his house when he's falling asleep when Doc wakes him up. Or actually, yeah, when Doc wakes him up. Now, here's the thing. This joke is not quite logical because he asked for a tab, which is a Diet Cola. Then he asked for a Pepsi Free. Then he says he just wants something without any sugar. Well, my friends, Pepsi Free is not a diet soda. It is not a sugar-free soda. It is a caffeine-free soda that came out in 1982. There was Pepsi Free. There was also Diet Pepsi Free. But if he said, give me a Diet Pepsi Free, that joke would not have landed for the free part because the first thing the guy would have said is, what the hell is Diet Pepsi? And you're going to have to pay for it. So it would have complicated the joke. But a Pepsi Free, okay, then he's like, if you want a Pepsi, you're going to pay for it. You son of a bitch. And you're going to pay for that phone book too. But the joke just wouldn't have landed with the diet part. So again, I don't know if it's a mistake or if they just kind of went with it because it made the joke flow better. But by the way, Pepsi Free was a name that was last used around 1987. So again, this joke by the 90s, people will be like, what the hell is Pepsi Free? I don't get it. So great joke for kids in the 80s, but lost in the annals of time. Now, when Lou goes to get him a coffee, there is a great reveal of young George McFly because we don't see him right away. We see over Lou's shoulder. He backs away after giving him the coffee, and then we see the guy sitting right next to Marty, both of them doing the exact same hand motion with the hand on the back of their head. It is so well done. They still don't draw any attention to it. And then Biff barges in. Oh, here we hear a voice, hey, McFly. Now, of course, both of them are going to turn because both of them are named McFly. They both turn at the same time. And he's like, McFly, what are you doing? Hey, I'm talking to you, you Irish bug. Now, we don't know that yet. We see him say, hey, McFly, what are you doing? We don't realize he's not looking at Marty. Marty's like, Biff? And he realizes, oh, my God, that's Biff. And then while Marty thinks Biff is coming right to him, and even the way the shot is showing, we see Biff coming straight at Marty, and then he goes right past Marty to young George McFly next to him. It is a shot that is well composed. It's very simple, but it's just so well done. And that look when Marty realizes, holy guacamole, that is my dad right there. That is the man that I'm seeing young Biff talk to is young George McFly, my father. And he's getting bullied just like he gets bullied in the 1980s. Biff wants to tell him to do his homework. And he's like, sure enough, I got to have time to copy it. You don't want me to get kicked out of school, would you? And I love that George says, he like pauses. He's like, would I? Probably not. He goes, would ya? No, of course, Biff. Of course I wouldn't want to be kicked. You want you kicked out of school. And the whole thing, get over early. I sleep in on Saturdays, or sleep in on Sundays. Really, really well done. And then the last segment, one of Biff's cronies. Well, first they notice that Marty's just staring, and Biff's like, "What are you looking at, butthead?" And then the guy, one of the cronies for Biff, says, "Hey, Biff, get a look at this guy's life preserver." And that's where the segment ends. Now, who are these guys with Biff? Well, we have three guys. We have Match, who's played by Billy Zane, best known for probably Titanic. He was also the Phantom. We get Casey Zamasco as 3D. He's always in the 3D glasses. I think Match has a match in his mouth, maybe. Casey Zamasco, known for Young Guns, Stand By Me. Those are the big ones. Was he 3 O'Clock High as well? I think so. Let me look up. See, I would have thought of 3 O'Clock High as one of the big ones that he's known for. 3 O'Clock High. Starring Richard Tyson and Casey Zamasco. Yes, thank you very much. We're like, there's going to be a fight at school. And then the third guy. The third guy is J.J. Cohen, who really is known for Back to the Future and its sequels. And he played a roadie in Almost Famous, but not much. He plays the character Skinhead, who he's the one who talks about get a look at this guy's life preserver. There's a second part to that joke, but not today. There's not. But here's the thing. Tomorrow's an exciting day for a couple of reasons. Number one, I accidentally cut tomorrow's clip so you get an extra second. Now it's going to throw the rest of the timing off for the rest of the month. Instead of these times ending in 0s and 5s, it's going to start ending in 1s and 6s. That's just life. But what am I going to do with that extra second? I thought, if I have an extra second, it's too much. It's too much for one man to deal with alone. So tomorrow, rejoining Marchy McFly for the first time back on Geek Mentality since sitcom All Ye Faithful, my good friend Eric is here to talk day 12 of Marchy McFly, the most Marchy McFly that I've done all year. 3 minutes and 36 seconds. It's going to be wild. It's going to be unpredictable. It's going to be fun, and I am looking forward to it. But that's tomorrow. Today, I'm done. What did we learn today? I mean, we learned who Biff's crew is. We learned that Marty is back and meeting young version of Biff and young version of his dad. And it looks like he's seeing a pattern where bullying was a constant between these two. We also learned that music was, for the most part, not that great in the 50s. And you know what I realized? When I was young, I think I was stupid and thought, wow, how did they make these actors look so young? Instead of, it was the other way around. But I swear I thought that. So I wanted to mention that. I wrote down that note and I almost missed it. But yeah, I wasn't always, the intellectual, today. But those are you didn't really learn much. You just learned that Marty's realizing he's in the 50s. We see the clock tower work. We hear that music. We hear Davy Crockett. We don't hear any of the other music. I just wanted to play it. And we see Biff and we see George. Those are the two of the major characters besides Marty and Doc. There's really 5 major characters, and we've met them all. But for the 1955 version, we've only met 2. We still have 2 more to go. Will we meet any of them tomorrow? Who knows? Will we meet them in that extra second? I don't know. I'm excited to find out and to find out with Eric. But until then, you can follow me on all the social medias at Geek Mentality, except TikTok, which is Geek Mentality Mike. You can follow the website at fansnotexperts.com. The YouTube channel is Fans Not Experts. The Facebook page is Fans Not Experts. As I told you, everything leads back to fansnotexperts.com. So you can find this show and every other show that I do there. Right now, it's mostly this. I got to get a new episode of Fine Movies, Fine Spirits up soon. We did The Nice Guys. It's a really, what an incredible movie. And so hopefully that'll be up on the website soon. And yeah, that is really, I need to get, some of my other podcasts going, but it's going to be a real busy week next week. So I feel like I'm going to be stocking up and doing a couple of shows, doing 2 a day so that I have enough to kind of glide through next week, because I'm going to be busy boy, culminating in a big birthday party for my wife a week from this Friday. So the 21st. I really sincerely doubt that you're going to be hearing a show recorded on the 21st from me on the 21st, but you will hear from me. I guarantee it. That's it. I'm done. I will see you tomorrow, my friends. But until then, thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. And here is my theme song. No, not that. Let me try again. Here is my theme song.
This is my podcast, I made it. Geek Mentality's what I named it. And I think you should listen and subscribe, 'cause I'm kinda funny and awesome. I think that I'm worth your time, and I'm kinda handsome. My mom says, please listen and please subscribe. At least listen to this episode. Fans not experts.